Hello, everybody. Welcome to the April 21st edition of Trips and Traps. I'm your man, Richard Migliore, and we got a good one for you. Joined by my main man, Ernie Munick, the M&M boys in the house. Ernie, I like the group of races we have because it brings us from track bias to trips to middle moves, pace. Pretty interesting show.
Absolutely, and as a handicapper who's ridden and trained 0 winners, I want to learn different things from these trips, not just about who's going to win next time, but maybe about handicapping in general from a jockey's perspective.
Well, you know, sometimes we talk about trips, that horse we're going to bet back, traps, but one thing we want it to be is educational and things to look for going forward. So let's start out on April 13th, the 6th race, and this is a first-time starter on the far outside, number 10, Meatball Madness. I'll let you take it away.
It was an inside-out or inside type of day, Megan. From the outermost post breaks Meatball Madness. From this barn is a very interesting barn. The unstable barn, Mahjong Madness. Yeah. Here is Meatball Madness, who is wide all the way. You see number 10 in the purple and gold. And, Mig, this wasn't the right trip for this horse. A horse who had thrown a couple of major workouts beforehand, took money, and races as he does here.
Well, and she did take a lot of money, which is what's interesting. Obviously, she can run. She tipped her hand she could run. But this was a very difficult trip. No fault of the jockey, Jackie Davis, because that was the hand she was dealt from that post position. But I thought she showed good run around the turn and did good to stay on. And talk about Meatball Madness. Sundays at my house, Meatball Madness.
Ah, yes. I can imagine. Big steel pot.
Oh, absolutely.
There you go.
I think I'm math in it.
Yum. Well, here is Meatball Madness outside, hung outside wide. He's going to keep coming. And I really like this trainer, John Morrison. I mean, the work he does with New York breds, and almost exclusively with New York breds, but he's really a very talented guy. And this one is from out of a mare who was a turf rooter. So we may see this horse stretching out, going 2 turns, either on grass or on dirt, which he does well second time out. So I think Meatball Madness is certainly a playback.
Well, and I like that Meatball Madness stayed on. She had every right, as far as I'm concerned, to kind of cave in. You could have forgiven her if she was 4th or 5th. She stayed on resolutely to be 3rd. And I think this is a rangy filly that looks like she'll appreciate going longer. And usually that one start, no matter how many good works you have, it kind of makes the light bulb go on, and I think it improves them mentally as much as physically.
And, Mig, there's never a guarantee with all the fast works that they're going to be any good. Right?
Oh, no. They got to show that they got the heart and they want to be competitive. Meatball Madness, I think, tipped her hand. She's not going to be any price next time, but you got to like her, and I thought a trip that we would point out from a first-time starter.
Absolutely, and I like John Morrison, New York bred man.
Well, we thought the inside was good that day. Let's move on to race 8 the same day, April 13th, and another horse that just got caught wide every step of the way. And do you think Chris DiCarlo could have been a bit more aggressive with this horse, or am I being a little bit tough here?
It's tough to say, Mig, in that I never know, as none of us do, except anyone privy to the barn itself, whether the jock's riding to instructions or not. I don't know if he was told to ease back or was given instructions to do whatever you want. Well, we do know he's the 6. He's in the white blinkers. He's now ranging up alongside the 1 on the outside against the grain. And David Jacobson, Mig, with a lot of these California shippers, bringing in horses that he got from California, have been running very well. And here is one that would do the same.
Well, and this horse is making up ground while wide into the teeth of a 45 and change half. I think this race is better than it's going to appear on paper. I also think this horse might need a little class relief, though.
Absolutely. You said it. Thank you. And what's interesting here, Mig, is that I ordinarily would not go. Look at that. Very interesting blinkers. Are those 3/4? Or?
Yeah, they look like pretty much full cups. And now he's getting floated out even further by Mali, who is no good at all on the day. This horse has seemed to lost his form. But this horse was very wide. My question to you is, a horse does rally from further back, but didn't make that middle move.
No, but then the horse moving from farther back is a really good horse. These are, like you said, these are good horses. I don't think he could win at this level, or he'd need some help. Whether it's a bias, a perfect trip, rough trips to the competition. I agree with you, a step down, and I think that's what Jacobson's going to do. He's never won on dirt. That's the. I don't know if you believe in that. I sometimes get burnt. They'll win on dirt anyway. That is the one concern.
Well, the one thing that this horse is going to have at his disposal at Belmont is 7 furlongs on the turf, which might hit him right squarely between the eyes. And what level would you be looking for this horse to bet back at? That's the interesting question.
Mig, a lot of times I see these horses rise and fall in class together. It's not so much a number as it is he has to avoid the fortuitous paths and the Scarly Charlie and the All-Star Reds.
Right.
Really, if that's I hate to throw a number on it, but obviously when you see those names, it's either going to be difficult for him to win or he needs to come down a bit.
Okay. Well, we're going to be looking for I know next time, and hopefully in a little easier spot.
Definitely.
Let's move on to April 5th, and I think this one's going to open up great conversation. We're looking at number 6, Rangers Express, on the turf here at Aqueduct, the 5th race. And she is, like I said, number 6. She's going to break okay, and she's going to get bounced around a little bit.
Here's the gray.
She's the gray horse with the white blinkers. What I found interesting about this horse was that she got no position going forward. If anything, she got, if any, position going backwards. So shuffled it back out of the race. You saw she had a steady there. She made up so much ground in the middle of the race. Now, I think we both agree that this filly, or mare at this point, is somewhat counterfeit. But I think this is a clear illustration of a trip that absolutely cannot win on the 7/8 turf course.
Fascinating. And I'm going to let's just stow that away. Let's just file that away under this is not what you want and follow back maybe against an easier competition. Mig, my question is this. She seems to only have a furlong run, and it's a good one. She's made, relatively speaking, a good one. In other races, she did the same. 1 furlong was really interesting. And here, add the trouble on top of that. When you're riding a horse like this, Mick, and you know does not have that big a run, A, is it tricky as tricky as it sounds, and B, what do you do?
Well, it is tricky, and now you're seeing she's making up all this ground down the backstretch. While the horse on the lead's getting an easy trip, soft pace by herself, horse laying second's getting an easy trip, soft pace by herself. She was jostled about at the break, shuffled back into the turn, made this premature run down the backstretch when she got flushed out of the pocket, and there was her run.
Yeah.
And in spite of all that, she didn't completely cave in. No. She kind of, finished evenly. What you have to do with a horse with a short run is get position. So you give them less to do. If you come out of the gate and you're 4 or 5 lengths away in the pocket, now you're covered up. You don't have the ability to move early because you're basically locked in there, and it makes you wait longer. Now, obviously, a much better horse, much bigger kick. Artie Schiller was so much better when he was covered up and in trouble, because when he would find a seam, he would explode and give you that 1/8 of a mile. But with horses with short runs, don't leave them too much to do because they use the run getting back into the race.
So I was going to use that expression, term, covered up. So with a horse like this, you have to find yourself just like a resting spot, a cruising spot. Listen, this might be easier said than done.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
And listen, she doesn't seem like she's easy. She's been a trips and traps horse before.
Oh,
yeah, absolutely.
Got it.
She could be the maiden New York-bred fillies and mares on the turf version of Dollar Bill, where she's always going to find trouble.
Wow.
And some horses are trouble-prone because they're not handy. They can't get a rider in and out of trouble. I wouldn't so much say I would bet this horse back. This horse is probably a trap in spite of her trip. But I thought it was just a good educational race to say this is the kind of race that you want to avoid, the kind of trip you want to avoid. And if you see this on a horse that maybe hasn't proven that it's a bridesmaid, you'd want to bet it back.
Is this the type of ride that you might show apprentices down the line saying, this, you don't, try to avoid something?
Absolutely. And particularly once you've gotten shuffled back to that position, don't allow them to make up all that ground in the middle of the race because you can't have anything left. I said it off camera when we were previewing the race. You'd have to be Secretariat to win with that kind of trip.
Right.
And personally, I won't bet a Rangers Express back. But I do think the horse had a compromising trip.
Very interesting. It's why I love this game. The subtle, even there'll be stories within stories, and when this horse wins one day, there'll be smiles on top of stories.
Absolutely. Well, we'll see what Rangers Express does next time. We're going to move on to April 16th, race 3, and this to me is the heart and soul of the game. Horses like Frazel, number 5, who we're going to take a look at. Ernie, I've got to ask you. Yes. We're going to see Frazel broke cleanly. Kind of going to get out-footed. It's number 5. We're going to highlight here. did you ever envision this race coming up with a 23 and almost 24 flat first quarter?
I can't possibly say no louder and more emphatically. It was a stunning early development. Even in a race at this level, you can still be astonished by what goes on. Bad decision here, bad decision there, and a horse is allowed to go loosey-goosey, land-a-loosey on him. And, once at this point, the race is done. Now it's just finding the trips. And Phrasal, maybe not the best situation, Nick.
Well, first of all, school was out after the first quarter of a mile.
Yes.
Gentrify with Kendrick Carmouche on the lead, did the right thing. Got to go almost 24, but then he let this horse march on. So everybody that's sitting there under a hold, all of a sudden, they're pulled off the bridle. And this horse has got a 3-length lead, and he's cruising. I thought Phrasal was very good because of the back markers. It was the only one that closed any real ground.
Mig, I'm just a groupie of this horse. I'm a huge fan. It's 62 races, 20 wins. Ran his second race for $8,000. Broke his maiden in an $8,000 maiden claimer, going 2 turns at Tampa, and has had a long career since. And you see, as you said, here comes Phrasal again. The heart and determination. I don't know how much horse he is, but whatever he has, he gives the cliche, but 110%.
I like my horses like I like people. Honest and hardworking. Give me the person, just like the horse, that shows up every time, gives 120% over the brilliant, advantaged horse or person that only shows up and gives half of what they have to give.
I'm such a fan. Really. It'd be an honor to meet you one day, Phrasal. That's how much I like him.
Phrasal have any right to even be third there and almost second?
No, but he just endlessly surprises me with how long he keeps his form. And he drops a bit, then he has a go, but amazing athlete, an amazing physical athlete.
Phrasal, the big engine that could.
Wow, you ain't kidding.
Let's move on now, and we'll change gears, and we'll go back to maidens on the turf. Race 6, April 17th, number 12, second from the outside, Laurel Heights, first-time starter from the incredible Chad Brown barn.
The bottomless barn. It is amazing, and sometimes they have all this talent and they don't always run. He just does a spectacular job with tremendous talent.
Do you think, in some respects, for this race, not for the career, Laurel Heights might have been better served if Irad Ortiz had gone forward a little bit? There wasn't much pace on, almost 50 3/5, 50 4/5, I should say, for the first half. Maybe he could have been more in the area where the 3-horse was.
Maybe. Mig, I'll leave that to you, because whenever I start getting into a jockey's head, I feel as though I don't have the experience to comment on that one. I will say this, is that the way the race developed, the horse would have had to be very special to win, or special to win for sure. And a lot of these Chad horses are still able to pull it off with with Erod, with one of these long sustained runs, but not an easy job. Look at this.
No, I mean, horses last at this point, trailing in behind the field. Irad's trying to do the right thing. He doesn't want to move prematurely at this point, because now you're going to be moving wide as the race heats up. So you basically got to sit in behind them, make the turn before you come out. And, let's be fair. Tizelle, the first-time starter from James Bond's barn, got off poorly, but Kendrick was aggressive and got more forward position, and that horse, ran on. So we got to give that horse credit as well, but I thought Laurel Heights in some ways ran the best race.
Agree, 1,000%. This horse was just isolated on the lead without any pressure whatsoever, and now Erod tips with the talent, and you can see there in the red cap that Laurel Heights will make her move. And you know what's interesting to me, Mig? Yesterday, we saw a Cape Blanco win going 4.5 furlongs at Keeneland in the opener, beating a Wesley Ward at 3-10. At 4.5 furlongs, here comes a Cape Blanco, just like Daddy, obviously a root horse, and she's going to be okay.
How about the stride? I mean, you could see how much Laurel Heights is reaching out. Laurel Heights is, to me, the one you want back out of this race. I think with a better trip, Belmont Park, a little more clued in, Laurel Heights is the one.
100% agree.
Interesting. And if you haven't seen that first race from Keeneland yesterday on the 20th, go see it. The Cape Blanco one might have got an assist when Julio Garcia kept looking over his right shoulder and got surprised from the left side. But we want to use your help, please. Trips and Traps at NYRAInc.com. We love being here and love doing this, and we look forward to doing it again next week.